So I've been seeing a lot of people in the YTBC comments calling for Erislandy Lara versus Triple G. And this is a fight that at first when people started mentioning in the comments that, yeah, that'd be a good matchup. I'd love to see what Triple G has. And the only negative, at first looking at it is, all right, we got a 154 pounder versus 160. And if Triple G were to take on this challenge, what would people say? They'd be like, oh, look at him. He's calling out another smaller boxer like he's doing with Canelo. No. The difference is Cinnamon fights technically at middleweight. He just doesn't fight at the full limit. Middleweight is 154.1 to 160. Because if you just come in over a quarter pound, 1 point of a pound over 154, you technically came in overweight. That's what you see guys going back to the scales. If they're like point 0.2 over, point 0.3, a lot of these guys go back to the room, go in the locker room, put on their sweatsuit, maybe jump rope, hit the mitts, do whatever. Some guys will go for a run, some guys will try to, go to the bathroom and lose some weight that way. So, yes, 155, 154 is middleweight, but it's not the full limit. So, just get that out of the way firsthand. Holding the belt, a world title hostage at a catch weight, it's just ridiculous. But anyways, I'm going off the subject. Erislandy Lara, Triple G. How do I think it'd go? I think it'd be a great matchup. Be interesting for the first couple rounds, just like Lara was piecing up Canelo the first couple rounds. And even though I had Lara winning that fight, I can see why a lot of people say it can be a draw, or maybe Canelo won, because it was a close fight. And I'm not a fan of either. I'm just a fan of boxing in general. So if you guys hear me say, oh, I'm not a fan of this guy, I'm not a fan of that guy, well, yeah, it's because I'm a fan of boxing in general. I don't really favor too many guys. My favorite guys right now, I don't even think they're top pound for pound. It's Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez is one of my favorite boxers. Tim Bradley, another favorite. But those guys aren't at the top pound. Those are just, who I like, my fighting styles, or the way they carry themselves in and outside the ring. It's not just their skills, it's who they are as a person. But anyways, back to the subject. Triple G, has he faced any southpaws? As of recently, I can't think of any. Maybe that Polish guy Proxa, that he debuted in back in early 2013, late 2012. I think that guy might have been a southpaw. Who else? Lemieux, no. Murray, no. Gill, no. All those guys are just orthodox fighters. So I think, fighting a left-hander would bring in a different, challenge for Triple G to go against. Especially, the movement, the slickness, the counter-punching ability. I really do think he brings more to the table than a David Lemieux, but not more than a Martin Murray, especially considering the size. 154, like I said. If Triple G be like, yeah, I'll take Lara on, even if it's not at 154, it's at 160, where it favors 160. What the haters are gonna say, oh, he brought up a small guy. Well, yeah, he did, and that's the only reason why I say this fight shouldn't happen. Me as a fan, I would love to, but if Triple G wins, which I think he would, what's the gain out of? People will say, oh, well, Lara got beat by Canelo anyways. Lara was a smaller guy anyways, And, yeah, they're right. At least for the being a smaller guy, not for losing to Canelo, but, it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for Triple G. He takes a fight, he beats him. What are people gonna say? Well, exactly what I just said. And as far as what is it gonna do? It's not gonna do much good, because everyone's gonna always criticize it and critique it. You know, they're gonna say the size difference. That's the only thing they're gonna say. They're gonna say the size difference, or well, I mean, yeah, there's nothing else to say. Just the size difference. It can't be like, well, Lara was shit, so it was cherry picked. No, Lara has excellent skills. Just a little too inactive. He doesn't throw enough punches, but man, if he did, he'd be he'd move up the rankings on my list. But yeah, it's just a size difference. Who else could there be? I would love to see Charlo twin, Eni one of them, Andrade, if they were in the same weight class, 160 at Triple G. I would love to see that. I'd love to see if Triple G moves up, I'd love to see him fight DeGale. First, I'd like to see him get Arthur Abraham out of the way. I think that's the weakest link. And yeah, I know that's the same Abraham that took Andre Ward 12 rounds, but that's also the same Abraham that got stretched 12 rounds by a former 160 pounder, Martin Murray, moving up. And I think it was in like his second bout at 168, Martin Murray went over to Germany and beat I think 168 pound WBO champ Arthur Abraham. I think it's WBO or WBA strap he holds. But of course, we know Germany. It's hard to get a fair shake, fair decision over there. And looking back at Murray's record, he went to Germany a long time ago and faced then 160 pound champ Felix Sturm. Got robbed with a decision, or with I think it was a split decision, what it was, or a draw. And we all know how he went over there to Argentina, beat Sergio Martinez. They got robbed, of course. So if this Murray was able to beat Abraham at 168, and Triple G beat Murray and knocked him out, the only person to knock out Murray, I really think that G can go up to 168, take that title. It'd be the weakest link. And I know people are going to be like, well, styles make fights. Yes, they do, but Murray's and Abraham's style is very similar, minus the power for Murray. They're not very exciting, even though they stand in front of you and they're in your face. They don't give movement, so there's not like they're running, but they're just kind of like they're workers. They slowly grind out these decisions. Kind of like a Floyd will pop shot and outland his opponent's decision. It's not very fun, but as a boxing fan, I do respect it, and I do see that it is skill, and that's something that I think those two guys bring. DeGale at 68 versus G would be great, but as far as 154 Lara moving up, or Triple G moving down 154 and facing Erislandy, it's a lose-lose. It's you picked a smaller fighter and you pick Canelo's leftovers, which you beat. And people are going to say that because you know it. They're always looking to critique. They're always looking to hate. And it's one thing that if you're calling out a guy for doing bullshit like, I don't know, Cinnamon, picking smaller guys like Lopez, Hatton, Baldemir, Gomez, now Khan. Okay, I can see why people are talking shit. I'm one of those criticizing the fight because it's disrespectful. It's not taking in consideration, Amir's health or a boxer's health, whoever it is. The guy's been stopped at smaller weight classes, is moving up, fighting a big guy, and yeah, he can punch. But we all know that fine china will shatter. So that's all I got to say on that fight. But Golovkin versus Lara, in a perfect world, they'd both be 160. And yeah, then we would really have a test. I think it's a great matchup, except for the weight. And I'm always going to be coming back to that because that is one of those deal breakers that I can't be a hypocrite and talk shit for other guys like Canelo wanting to cherry pick a smaller fighter, but yet when it comes to G, I can't be biased and allow him to cherry pick a smaller fighter either. So that's just my thought on that. Could be something great, but weight classes will separate it.